Hey y'all, Kristen Vance here, hashtag Fancy Vance. We are on another episode of our Advanced Talks podcast. This is part 3 of our 5-part series on the things that we have to leave behind in our business in order to be successful. Because we are constantly talking about the things that we need to do to find success, but what about those things we need to let go of? So the last couple of weeks, if you missed those episodes, check them out. We talked about burning our exit strategies and also burning comparison. But today we are going to dive into a hard but much needed topic of burning negativity. So I want to recap the story that we're basing this entire series on, and that is the story of Hernan Cortez. And in 1519, he took a small army to the shores of Veracruz, and they were going to capture the Aztec treasure. Now, for 600 years, armies of various sizes, much more well-equipped armies, tried to accomplish this and came up short every time. So Cortez painted this vision, painted this story of what this treasure was going to do once they seized it. And then he also looked at his men and he said 3 words that changed everything. He said, burn the ships. He meant burn their ships. He was going to burn their exit strategy so that they had no choice but to succeed or die. He put the pressure on. He turned inspiration into desperation, because when you have the choice to succeed or to die or succeed or fail, you will succeed every single time. So they burnt their ships, and he said, what we're going to do is we're going to seize this treasure and we're going to take the Aztecs' boats home. So again, he cut out the exit strategy. It was do or die, and they ended up succeeding. And not only did they seize the treasure, but they took over the entire Aztec empire. So we don't have physical ships, but there are things in our business that in order to be successful, we have to let go of. One of those is our exit strategies. And the second one is comparison, because comparison will hinder your progress. But the third one that we have to let go of, my friends, is negativity. Now, I want to talk about the science behind negativity, because I think this is really fascinating. And when you can really wrap your mind around this, you'll truly realize just how significant it is to burn the ship of negativity in regards to the growth of your business and the growth of your team. Because when people focus on negative, it's actually referred to negativity bias. Negativity bias causes amplified emotional responses to negative events compared to positive ones of equal magnitude. Think about that. Negativity bias is linked to loss aversion, and the pain of loss is psychologically twice as powerful as the pleasure of gaining. So like many things in life, negativity can also become a habit. Frequent criticism, cynical thoughts, denial can actually create neural pathways in the brain that encourage sadness. So why is understanding the science so important? Because when we realize that negativity has double the ability to spread like a virus over positivity, then we can think about this in regards to how we handle ourselves and our teammates. So I want to look at the 3 things that happen in regards to negativity, and then also 3 things on how we can combat this. So the first thing, negativity and complaining has significant consequences. And if you don't believe me, think to yourself, has anybody ever had kids here? Anybody? Okay. Several of you, I see hands shooting up, you have children. Have any of y'all ever experienced them complaining when you've tried to do something really nice for them? Like you're going to take them to the toy store, or you're going to take them to an event, or you're going to take them to the circus, or you're going to take them to the zoo, and the entire time they complain. I don't know about y'all, but when this happens, it sucks all the fun out, and it makes you not want to do something nice for them again, right? And it can, in regards to business, this can be something as simple as complaining about a slow month, complaining about the industry, complaining about the culture, complaining about a teammate or an upline. It can actually breed this culture of negativity, and it discourages your teammates. It pushes people away, just like it pushes me away when my kids complain to want to do something again. It pushes people away, and it kills your team morale within seconds. Now, I'm not saying that you have to pretend that everything is rainbows and unicorns and you have to just be positive and cheerleadery and bubbly at all times. No, you can actually acknowledge that adversity and obstacles exist. But as a leader, you take that and you become solution based and you look at the opportunity that can be gained in the situation. It's all about pre-framing and framing, which we're going to talk about in a second. But you can acknowledge it. But what you do is you then begin to share stories, you share experiences of how you or maybe a teammate overcame that obstacle. And now you've taken this situation and you've inspired somebody with it. So the first thing that negativity does is it carries consequences within your team. The second thing it does is when you complain, you actually begin to draw more negative things to you. Because if you have a preconceived idea of something, you will actually search it out and you will interrupt new information. So, new information coming in, you will interrupt it to prove your preconceived bias. This could be a negative view of you, a negative view that you have of somebody. Now, every time they do something, every time, whether good, bad, or in between, you are going to assume the worst. So, complaining about a teammate or leader, when you do this, you are going to begin to find more and more and more negative things about them. Now, this can be extremely toxic in not only this industry, but in life, in any industry. This can lead to mistrust and discord among your team members. So, what if instead you start assuming the best about the person? I know that's hard. I know that can be hard. But what if you started assuming the best about the person and giving them the benefit of the doubt? You as a leader, you have to promote open communication. If issues arise, address them directly and constructively. You have to focus on solutions, not blame. Solutions, not blame. So instead of going to somebody else, go straight to the source. And if you have to go to somebody, if you absolutely need to go to somebody to seek advice, you need to make sure that this is a person who is going to be unbiased, look at both sides, encourage you to go to the source, and also give that person the benefit of the doubt. Now, I had a situation back this summer and I wasn't even aware of it. So it was one of my teammates and she was not feeling seen at the time, right? She wanted a deeper connection with me. And I had no idea, to be honest. I thought things were good. I honestly thought she is one that just kind of thrives on her own and she's killing it and she'll come to me if she needs me and I'll just occasionally check on her. But she really needed more. And she ended up sharing this with a sideline sister of hers. And luckily, the person she shared it with didn't go, "Oh man, that Kristen, wow, I really thought she was a better leader than that, blah, 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 blah." No, she actually told my teammate, "I really think you should talk to Kristen about this because knowing what I know about her, I don't even think she probably realizes this." So this lady gave me the benefit of the doubt and she encouraged my teammate to go to the source. And I cannot tell you how much I greatly appreciated that. She came to me and she even gave me the benefit of the doubt by opening up the conversation by saying, "I know your heart. I know your heart, and you probably don't even realize this, but I need more." So we both ended up opening up to each other, and it changed the trajectory of our friendship, our business relationship, everything. But what if she would have taken that situation? She would have gone to like 20 different people complaining and gossiping, right? How toxic could that have quickly turned? So give people the benefit of the doubt, go to the source, because every time that person does something, you're going to continuously look for the negative. The third thing, and this is a fascinating one, but oftentimes the more blessed you are, the more critical you are. Again, I'm going to relate this to my children. I love my children. But when I was a single mama, I gave my baby, because it was just me and her, I gave her the option of what to eat all the time because I was just cooking for myself and for her. So when she was like 1 and 2 and 3, I'd be like, "Hey, what do you want for dinner? You want cheese quesadilla, mac and cheese, grilled cheese?" She loved cheese, Cheetos. I mean, what do you want for dinner? What sounds good? Because I was going to eat something on my own anyways. But what I didn't realize that this was doing is it was giving her this say every single dinner. And then when I became a family of 5, I ain't no Applebee's, y'all. Like, everybody's not getting a menu and choosing what I cook for them. Like, they're going to get what I put on the table. But she struggled with this for a while, and rightfully so, because she grew up thinking that she had the choice of what's for dinner. And so she became ungrateful, right? Like, if I cook spaghetti and she didn't want that, she was like, well, why not? Like, I would have liked to have a say. And I realized that that is something that I created. Now, luckily, by the time she was around 3, we ended up changing this, and now she realizes whatever mama puts on the table, that's what you're getting. But as leaders, when we move up in our companies, have you ever noticed that the leaders are actually the more critical ones a lot of the times, not all the time? And here's the thing, we have to be careful as leaders. We have to continuously look for the good in things in our companies, the good in people. We have to be careful not to be so critical. The morale of our teams depend on this. So, 3 things with negativity. You're going to draw it more to you. There are consequences, and you will find yourself as you move up becoming more critical. See, most of life's battles are lost or won in the mind. The life we have is a result of the thoughts we think. The life we have is a result of the thoughts we think. If you have a negative mind, it's almost impossible to have positive results. Your thoughts, like we said, create neural pathways in the brain. The more you think about it, the more you're going to think about it again and again and again. So as you can see, negativity is like an anchor weighing you down and hindering your progress in the world of network marketing, in the world in general. So like Cortez, we have to burn the ships of negativity. We have to be absolutely committed to the mission. We have to burn the destructive habit of thinking and speaking negatively. So how do we do this? Let's talk about this. 3 things here. First thing, you have to realize that you cannot control what happens to you. You just can't. But you can control how you frame it. So I want you to think about a picture for a second, okay? Picture a framed picture with dark clouds and light clouds. You see the storm and then you see the sunshine, okay? It's in one picture. Hang on to that for a second. Now, I want to reference a story in the Bible of the name of Paul. Paul knows exactly what it feels like not to get what he wanted. He actually felt called to go to Rome and preach the gospel. He knew that this was a strategic place to go so that the gospel could be spread over all the nations. This was his dream. But he found himself in prison in Rome. So instead of preaching the gospel, he found himself chained and locked away. Everything he wanted was the complete opposite. Now, Paul could have framed the situation. Again, think about the picture with the sunny clouds and the dark clouds. He could have framed the situation and go, oh man, this really sucks. I'm done. I'm quitting. I'm no longer going into ministry. I'm no longer spreading the gospel. Look at where this got me, yada, 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 yada. But instead, he framed it this way. He said, I want you to know, brothers and sisters, that what actually has happened to me has served to advance the gospel. This man is in prison. This man is in prison. And he is saying, you know what? This situation in turn is going to advance the gospel because I am chained to a guard. Every 8 hours, the guard switches and I get to tell that man about the gospel. And this is an authoritative figure in Rome. This is somebody who has power. This is somebody who has say, and I get to spread the gospel. And as a result, he said, it's become clear throughout the whole palace garden to everyone else that I am in chains for Christ. That story is so powerful to me. He said, it may look like I'm in bondage, right? But actually, I'm chained to a guard and I'm preaching the gospel. Who's the real prisoner here? He gets a captive audience, an influential audience. And he said, and the last thing he said is, because of this, most of my brothers and sisters have become confident in the Lord and dare all the more to proclaim the gospel without fear. So here's the thing. The facts aren't different. You look at the picture. It's not, the facts are there. That's what it looks like. But how do you frame your situation? Now, none of us are in a situation like Paul, thankfully, right? Most of our situations related to this industry are just like, hey, I thought I would be here by now, but I'm really only here. I've been with my company for 3 years and I thought I would be further. Or my upline is just not doing what I want her to do. And if I would have had a better upline, maybe I'd be successful, right? We come up with all these excuses, which we're going to talk about in the next episode, excuses. But how are you framing your situation? Let's talk about three things. Start by thanking God for what didn't happen. So instead of focusing on the promotion that you missed, focus on the title that you maintained. Focus on the other teammates who hit promotions. Instead of focusing on how the Zoom call could have been better, focus on one thing that you learned. Focus on the fact that one teammate showed up and took something away. Instead of focusing on the fact that your top leader quit, focus on the fact that she has amazing leaders underneath her who stayed. So we have a neighbor, and we were outside with our kids several weeks ago, and they were drawing with chalk in the driveway, and he came out, and we were just asking him how his day was, and he said, oh man, y'all, my son, his teenage son, he gave him the keys to his vehicle and he let him drive it, and his son crashed the car into a mailbox. He said he was actually texting, looking at his phone. And I remember telling my husband, like, I was really impressed with his attitude, the dad's attitude. He did not seem, I mean, he was disappointed, but he just kept saying, I'm just glad he's okay. I'm just glad he's okay. Lesson learned. I just hope he's learned his lesson, right? Like, I'm just glad he's okay. And that was a similar situation, a similar example of this whole framing. Like, he could have just been like, oh my goodness, y'all. And he could have just totally went negative about his son and talked about how stupid that was and a stupid decision, which I'm sure he had his moment. But he ended up looking at the situation of like, I'm just so thankful nobody was hurt, that he didn't hit anybody, and hopefully a lesson was learned and he's okay. So it's all about looking at what could have happened and going, okay, but let's thank God for what did happen or what didn't happen. The second thing is practice pre-framing. So we talked about framing your story, but what about pre-framing? Before you even go into a situation, before you go into that Zoom, instead of going, oh, this Zoom's going to be a waste of time. Last week's was a waste of time. This one's going to be a waste of time. Instead, go, you know what? I'm so excited. I'm going to use this to show engagement, to show the community that we have. And I'm going to look for one thing that I can take away and bring back to my team. Go in pre-framing thinking, you know what? This is going to be a great call. I'm telling you guys, there is power in positive thinking. And then also look for the good. You will always find what you're looking for, just like we talked about negativity bias. When you create those neural pathways in your brain, when something negative happens, you begin to look for the negative. So flip that. Look for the good. Look for the good in people. Look for the good in teammates. Give people the benefit of the doubt. We are so hard on others and yet so forgiving of ourselves, aren't we? We can do something and we can go, yeah, but I meant it this way. We give ourselves grace all the time and we downplay. But when somebody else does something, oh, that was intentional. That was malicious, right? We don't give people the benefit of the doubt. Look for the good. Look for the good in your company. Look for the good in the industry. Look for the good in your upline. Look for the good in your spouse. Look for the good in your clients. Look for the good in your business. Look for the good. As leaders in this network marketing industry, it is our responsibility. It goes beyond our personal success. It extends to nurturing and empowering our teams. So when we can burn the ship of negativity and we can choose to focus on solutions, growth, optimism, positivity, we ignite a powerful force that propels us forward. And we foster that atmosphere of positivity and boundless opportunities. So the third thing you must burn is the ship of negativity. And it starts with you. A lot of times you may be like, have you ever been to a church service or any kind of training or lesson and you're like, oh man, somebody should be, so you're thinking of a particular person and you go, oh, that person, I wish they'd listen to this. This is for them. This is one of those episodes. It's easy to go, oh, I wish Susie would listen to this. I wish Emily would listen to this. But I think we have to first start with ourselves. You may think you are the most positive person on the planet, but look deep within. Is there any negativity you're carrying? Assumptions you're making about people? Are you giving people the benefit of the doubt? It starts with you. And then when your team sees you living this out, and again, it doesn't mean you pretend that everything is rainbows and unicorns. You can acknowledge adversity. You can acknowledge obstacles. You can acknowledge something bad that somebody did. But are you giving people the benefit of the doubt? And are you looking at this as an opportunity to learn, to grow, to advance? That's what counts. Because again, you can't control what happens to you, but you can totally control how you frame a situation. So I want to encourage you guys today to burn the ship, your exit strategy, comparison, and the third one is negativity. So if you found today's episode helpful in any way, I would love, love, love for you to share it. It's also on YouTube. You can watch the live recording on podcast. It's on Apple, Spotify, iTunes. Share this, tag FancyVance89. Let us know how this training benefited you in some way. Feel free to share this with your teams. Subscribe, and I would love for you guys to leave a review on this podcast. This helps these messages and these trainings to go out to more and more people and hopefully make a lasting impact. I love you guys. Have a very blessed day, and we'll see you next time.